Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Excellence IAS. Let us do the editorial analysis for today, December 2nd, 2022. The first article for discussion, should there be a panel to appoint election commissioners? Let me explain this in a very lucid manner this way. When there are 3 members in appointing election commissioners, how it will reflect on the appointment process itself, rather than Council of Ministers appointing them. Today, what is the existing procedure? The Council of Ministers will recommend to the President of India, and the President of India, he will appoint the CEC and other election commissioners. This is the first point. Now, this Council of Ministers, who are they? They are nothing but members of the party in power. It means that a party in power can appoint the umpire, who is the election commission. In such a case, the Council of Ministers can recommend a person who can do favoritism towards them, or who can ensure certain decisions that are favorable to them. So then, the impartiality and neutrality of the umpire is compromised. So Election Commission of India is critical, its independence is critical for fair elections, free elections in the country. So there are many allegations which are coming on Election Commission of India that its impartiality is getting compromised. So if we want to improve the independence of Election Commission of India, then the obligation has to be arrested. What is this obligation that has to be arrested? First, rather than Prime Minister and Council of Ministers recommending a name, let us bring in a collegium system. A collegium that consists of Prime Minister and then Leader of Opposition in Lok Sabha and Chief Justice of India. This is recommended by Tarakunde Committee, Dinesh Goswami Committee, Law Commission in India, Second ARC, Venkatachalaya Commission, National Commission on Review of Working of Constitution, Venkatachalaya Justice Venkatachalaya Committee. Everyone have recommended for a appointment through collegium or a panel to appoint the election commissioners. This is one part of it. And the second part of it is, they have a tenure that is 65/6 years. This tenure exists for CEC and other election commissioners. But if CEC has to be removed before this tenure, this person has to be removed as like the judge of Supreme Court. But with regard to the removal of other election commissioners, they can only be removed, they can be removed by the President of India in consultation with CEC. So when President of India wants to remove them, he has to consult CEC. The opinion expressed by the CEC is not binding on the President of India. It means the security of job which is enjoyed by CEC is not enjoyed by other election commissioners. So that's why the second important recommendation for the independence of election commission is CEC and other election commissioners, they have to be removed as like the judge of Supreme Court. And the third point is appointment of CEC. Shall it be based on seniority or not? Today, CEC need not be appointed from the rank and file of Election Commission. So that's why, if we have to ensure the career progression and independence, election commissioners shall be appointed as CEC on the basis of principle of seniority as it exists today in judiciary. So these are the points you need to remember with regard to this article. Next article, laying the ground to delegitimize the Supreme Court. So let us try to understand. Today, collegium is appointing the judges to the Supreme Court. Collegium consists of a group of judges. CJI plus 4 senior most judges of the Supreme Court, they are called as collegium. Now, government wanted to do away with this collegium and proposed for National Judicial Appointments Commission. And Constitutional Amendment Act was also passed for this. But Supreme Court has declared this as unconstitutional. The collegium system, it has brought the primacy of the judiciary in the appointment of judges. The judiciary has got the primacy in the appointment of judges. Now, the government wants to remove the judicial primacy in the appointment of judges through the NJAC. And while rejecting NJAC as violative of the constitution and independence of judiciary, which is part of the basic structure, Supreme Court also has clearly stated collegium has its own drawbacks. To address this, we have to create more, that is memorandum of procedure. The objective of memorandum of procedure is improve the transparency, to create eligibility, and also to broad base the consultations for the appointment of judges, and also grievance redressal or complaints on the judges, how they have to be handled, and how to create the secretariat to continuously appoint the judges. So based on this, a memorandum of procedure has to be created, which the judiciary and the government of the day has to follow. But this is not being done. And next is, what are the problems of collegium which are being stated? See it carefully. The first problem is, it is not transparent. So what happens, how the judges are selected in the collegium, no one knows. Now if you see the diversity of judges in India today, there is no gender diversity or minimal gender diversity. Social diversity is almost missing. And above all, the appointment of judges are a serious exercise, need huge secretariat support, that is also missing. And when you appoint your own men, the institution becomes inward looking, self-servant, and also it will become a closed clique. A group of people secretively sitting together and deciding the matters is not good for any democracy. And checks and balances are created in the constitution for a purpose that no institution has to become a closed clique. So that's why in the spirit of checks and balances, we need to make it strong, open and transparent. So nepotism, all these complaints are also there. So these have to be addressed. Next part of the question is, of safer roads for a greener, more sustainable environment. Let's try to understand this article. There is one case study in this, that's why I have collected this. If a car is going at the speed of 120 km per hour, the amount of fuel consumed per kilometer is very high compared to that if it is going at 80 or 90 km per hour, because the wind resistance is high at the higher speed. So that's why if you reduce the speed of the roads, you can also reduce the emissions coming from the car. And the second thing is, the lower speeds also increase safety on the roads. So in this scenario, this article, what it says is, the sustainable environment and then safer roads need lower speeds. In this, there is a foundation that is called Save Life Foundation. It has brought in a corridor that is called Zero Fatality Corridor. Where is this Zero Fatality Corridor exists? On Mumbai-Pune highway. This is expressway. So in this, they took one corridor and they have improved small safety standards. What they said is, wherever the hard trees are there, they have kept guards onto that, and also they have provided for reflective signages which are visible in the nights also. And then for animal movement, they have created green corridors. Today you might be seeing in the news that green bridges, and these are specifically for the animal movement. Many a times animals comes onto the highways, they are being hit by fast moving vehicles. To avoid these accidents, green corridors are being created. With these improvements, the safety of the roads has increased, and crashes or road crashes have come down by 61%. So we can use this as an example. Either in the interview or anything, whenever you are talking about, you can quote these statistics. The next, how do personality rights protect celebrities? I am not interested in the celebrities over here. What are personality rights? Your photo or your video or your voice, whatever coming out of your persona, they can be your property. Now, this property, can they be misused by the social media? Let us take Amitabh Bachchan's property, his voice. Can it be used without his permission? Can someone mimic him without his permission? So, in this context, there is something called right to publicity. So, it means I can use only my voice for my publicity, and right to keep one's image. Right to keeps one image. Many a times politicians' photographs are being pasted across the public toilets, etc. So it is an image spoiling attempt. So that's where the personality rights include right to publicity. It also consists of right to self-image, where one's image, one's voice, one's appearance shall not be exploited for commercial benefits by the others. You can only use them for your commercial benefits. These rights are called personality rights. Personal rights are different, personality rights are different. So these are new sets of rights which are there in the news. How will global layoffs impact India? So we are there in an LPG era, right? Today if we observe, most of the Indian startups, either if you see edutech startups like Byju's, Unacademy or Vedant, whatever the startups if you see, where the investments are coming from, these investments are flowing from the West. There is a huge capital movement from West to East. So the startups also end up laying down. So in this case, one is the layoffs in the West. There are two dimensions to it. Layoffs in the West, they may shift the work to India in certain sectors, and when capital flows may come down on the other way, when capital flows come down, automatically it leads to loss of jobs in India. Or if there is outsourcing of jobs to less cost country like India, our jobs may increase. These are the two dimensions which we need to understand over here. So this is what the today's news. Thank you very much. And today I am there in Bangalore. I am recording this video from the studio of Bangalore, and I wish all the Bangalore students all the best, and all my students all the best. Thank you very much.